Joseph, how you doing, man?
I'm doing, dude. It's been crazy, but I'm doing. How are you, man?
Good, man. Good. This has been a wild day. We will
Yeah.
describe that in just a couple minutes. But first, we gotta hit the music and then just jump right into this because this is just too good to talk about tonight. So let's go.
Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six. That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Dude, that was crazy.
So, so we were not supposed to have a podcast today. In fact, I don't know if you got the text. Um, we were just gonna take this weekend off and gear up for SummerSlam weekend next weekend. Um, but as the day was going on, the tide started turning, and this has just been an unbelievable day. My phone has been blowing up. I kid you not, no joke. I would say my phone has gone off at least 500 times in Twitter alone.
Oh, I
No,
believe it.
I kid you not. I kid you not. We've been sending out massive tweets. I got a lot of text messages. I have been on my phone nonstop since 5 o'clock. This has been nuts. Uh, Taking questions, tweeting, finding out what the heck is going on. We were going to take the weekend off, but with the news that came out today, there was no reason not to hop on tonight whatsoever. And boy, was today a bombshell. So, as I was explaining to you before, we started off the day as texting people, we're going to take the weekend off. And here we are around 11 a.m. this morning. We find out that Triple H is now ahead of talent relations. And I think I saw in the mix, I'm pretty sure, creative as well. So basically, Triple H is handling all the backstage stuff now. Big announcement.
Yeah.
So that should have been a red flag, but it was. I didn't think much of it. You know, I know there was like some changes coming and stuff. But then around 4:45 p.m. tonight, I see online, like literally 2 minutes after, I see online and Vince McMahon tweets announcing his retirement. We broke the news quick. We broke the news so quick that we even beat Sean Ross Sapp of
Yeah.
reporting the news. Like once I saw that Vince McMahon tweet, I knew that was 100% legit, and we beat Sean Ross Sapp to that report.
For sure.
Pat on
Dude,
our backs for sure.
you know who else we beat?
Huge. That is a very rare thing to happen and may not happen again for a while.
You know who else we beat? I mean, no shade whatsoever, but for two Long Island boys, it does matter that we did beat News 12. Natalie and I were in the car, and she got a notification from News 12, and she's like, "Joe, Vince McMahon retired," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Wayne told me like an hour ago." But she was on her phone and she saw it.
Let me tell you, this spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, big news. Should I be surprised? Yes and no. I kind of thought about a month ago that this was the possibility of Vince could be on the way out here.
Yeah, and it was.
But then the news got so much worse about 2 weeks ago when it came out that Vince McMahon paid off 3 to 4 girls a total of $12 million to, and one of them was a WWE talent from 2005.
Oh, is that right?
Do I dare say Dawn Marie? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Stacey Gabler, who was there in 2005?
Dude,
Anyway,
Wild time, man.
yeah, Vince was having a wild time, all right. So the news came out today that he paid $12 million in total to these 4 girls. So so that news came out about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is getting worse and worse as time goes on. And sure enough, I'm led to believe that all these events that happened last year, and we'll kind of chronicle it a little bit,
Yeah.
that these events this year, um, with the news coming out one after another, led to Vince McMahon just being 77 years old, not wanting to deal with this and the repercussions that are going to come out of this. So to get out unscathed, he announced his retirement before. I mean, listen, he internally he could have been forced to get out, but before resigning, it's a little bit prideful in a way. He just called it retirement. So what are your thoughts on today? And then we'll go from there.
So, man, today was crazy, right? Like you said, you started off, or the group chat for for our podcast, for just like, oh hey guys, here's what's coming up, SummerSlam weekend, and I was like, all right, cool, yeah, SummerSlam, something to look forward to. I'm like, all right, I definitely want to get on, I definitely want to talk to you guys and whatnot. But then we got the message about Triple H. It was like, and then you asked, hey, at some point this weekend, maybe we'll do an Instagram live, we'll keep it light. And then all of a sudden this news drops and we're like, let's go. And I know, from our conversations, like we've been working. I know you have been nonstop communicating, tweeting and whatnot. I've been working kind of behind the scenes on some cool stuff that I hope we can get to later on today. But yeah, man, it is a historic day in many, many ways, for many reasons, for many good reasons for us, right? For you guys and whatnot. But also, it's a wrestling, to the wrestling community. We're always going to remember today, and but not to mention, and we had to think about for us at our stage of life or how long we've been watching wrestling, let alone the last few months or let alone the last year. We can't deny the impact that this one individual had on how we were brought up and how we grew up on wrestling. He had a hand in that, we can't deny it, whether or not we liked the product. It was just like, he's been part of our lives for so long, for so many generations, and so will the last year of his life completely shadow the legacy that he's built, the empire that he's built, the things that are available to us as a wrestling community, if it weren't for him, right? I mean, you got to just think about it like that,
Yeah, so there are definitely pros and cons. So let's take a step back for a second. Let's set the stage here. We have, for the last 10 years, WWE fans and the diehards of the 18 to 49 have been clamoring for change, with Vince McMahon, people saying that he's got to go. This has been going on for the last 10 years now, and it resonated, and the outcry increased even more around 2014 when NXT, and I put this in the blog that will be available to you guys very soon. I put this in the blog that NXT, from 2014, when it became available on the network, and fans knowing that Triple H had his hands on the product, the booking was just outstanding. It was an indie-like feel. It was WWE's. It was the part of WWE that had an indie feel to it. NXT was becoming the most popular part of WWE at some point, And with the takeovers, the phenomenal. I've been to a number of
Oh yeah.
takeover Dallas, takeover Brooklyn, takeover, and like you name it. I went to a lot of takeovers, and so NXT has been a part, and Triple H was behind that, and I felt like there was a lot of animosity between Triple H and Vince, and maybe some jealousy there
Yeah.
as far as Vince's product, Vince's SummerSlam being overshadowed by NXT takeovers with the main events of like Sasha Banks versus Bailey.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up, right? You gotta think about. I think did you get to go to both? The Saturday Sunday shows because I only got to go to Brooklyn, Takeover Brooklyn, Sasha Bailey. I only got to go to that show, and I didn't get to go to SummerSlam, right? But you got to take a look at those shows back to back. And this is just a few years ago, right? What year was that?
2015.
2015?
Maybe
Okay.
maybe 16, but I want to say 15.
Yeah, I think 2015 maybe for sure. And so, like, not so long ago, we have these two back-to-back shows. The crowd was so wild for NXT Takeover Brooklyn, right? It was insane being a part of that atmosphere. And then I remember SummerSlam being, I mean, obviously just from the audience standpoint, it was just like the fire was not as like passionate. You know what I mean? Where like the show was great or whatever, but like you'll remember, even just watching it, you remember the feeling of
Yeah.
being just a wrestling fan during Sasha Bailey, right? And so it's just like, yeah, of course there's going to be animosity there, but also you got to also think around just not even like a couple years before that. Think about CM Punk's pipe bomb, right? He predicted it, and it was like obviously everyone kind of saw it, right? But he voiced it, and he was saying, yeah, when he retires, he's going to be, he said, his daughter and his doofus son-in-law, right? And literally, here we go. The news about Triple H comes, and then SmackDown starts with Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
Right.
So now here's the thing. So now we see, so with the popularity of NXT, we see people clamoring more for Triple H and Stephanie to take over the years because they did such an amazing job with the NXT brand. They did so well working with the little TV time that they had, 1 hour and later eventually 2 hours, but 1 hour a week, having to rotate rosters every week just to kind of, move it around and keep the flow going, and doing a takeover once every 3 to 4 months, just to space out the booking and everything. But Triple H in particular did such an awesome job with NXT, just like the layout, the tournaments, the tag team tournaments, the storylines, just everything.
Yeah.
And everything that was lacking, and to this day has been lacking on the WWE product of Raw and SmackDown. So as a result, people
And NXT
clamor.
2.0.
Oh God, don't get me started on NXT 2.0.
But we got to go there, right? We have to go there.
Oh yeah, Vince McMahon put his fingerprints on NXT 2.0, and look,
Here's what we got.
the interest. I'm not even interested in watching. Now I'm going to be interested in watching it this week to see what kind of result we get.
NXT 2.5.
They might just drop the whole 2.0 thing.
Please, black and gold.
Yeah, they got to go back to black and gold. Just like everything that Triple H was doing in NXT was working. It was working a lot, and people were going to shows, selling out arenas. Vince McMahon put his fingers on it, and that just went down the tubes.
Mm-hmm.
So thus proven NXT was becoming the more watched show, more attended, hotter crowd. It drew more of the 18 to 49 demo than Mondays or Fridays. Just the quality. And NXT was the best part of WWE for the last 7 years until 2.0 came around.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, and with the inconsistent booking on Raw and SmackDown, repetitive booking, rematches, and just the bookings, the constant 50-50. They don't listen to the fans.
No, not at all.
Man, that is. and it's just the booking has been horrible for the last couple of years. I will give a little credit to Roman Reigns. I love what they've done with Roman Reigns.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
But that's really only been the best consistent thing of the main roster of WWE, and that's kind of what's kind of probably kept WWE afloat. Along with the random appearances of Lesnar and what have you. But so this was way overdue. This was, I would say, fans have been clamoring for Vince to go for at least 5 to 10 years. Now, did we want to see Vince McMahon go under these circumstances? Absolutely not. But the reality is, he is 77. It's time for him to retire. It's time. He has proven that he's out of touch with the product, and it's just like there's no like I can't remember when the last time Raw has been must see.
No, I mean, I thought it would have been when they announced like Vince was like appearing or stuff like that, and like Raw's been doing a bunch of like the 20-year anniversaries of, and you got to think like, well, why is that, right? They did one for Randy Orton, one for John Cena, all of these things, right? Like because they're trying to like remind people that 20 years ago, oh yeah, it was 2002, and that's where a lot of this ruthless aggression kind of stuff started happening, right? And it's just like it's another reminder of even back then. I remember like wrestling fans being kind of like, what the heck is this, right? This is when Rock and Stone Cold and everyone started kind of drifting away from full-time wrestling, carrying the product, and now we have people like John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Brock Lesnar, and all those people trying to like carry the weight of the company. Edge, right?
Taker did his thing for a while.
I mean, hey, I watched the Ruthless Aggression documentary on the network and whatnot. I liked wrestling back then for sure, right? But I remember I just remember wrestling fans just like honestly like thinking, oh, what's going on? Vince is ruining wrestling, and I'm just like thinking that's 20 years ago. People are going to just be able to complain about everything, they're going to find something to complain about, right? But at the same time, it's just like this dude, like you said, it's just time. 77 years old. Wish it were better circumstances, but it's time.
And you know what? It's no fault to the talent because I think WWE, especially with the guys that they had in NXT that are now more than half of them are in AEW, but WWE had their hands on the best talent in the world and probably one of the best groups of talent that they probably had ever in their roster over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And Vince just did not know what to do with them. Look at Killer Cross, for example. Look at Ascension. Look at Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze was buried the moment he came out to the main roster. No way he should have done the job to Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, yeah.
Ziggler
the first thing he does on the main roster, hey, throw him in with someone who he looks exactly like.
Yeah, they fed him to Dolph Ziggler. They put Dolph Ziggler over when they could have made a new star, Tyler Breeze, and have him run as the Intercontinental Champion. And then after that, just again, many NXT names that came up, WWE did not know what to do with them. Triple H, however, knew exactly how to book each and every single person. And even if they didn't have a title, even if they weren't main eventing, they were always presented in a way where they felt important.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see that in WWE. In WWE, the focus has been around one guy the last 9 years almost, and that's Roman Reigns. Everybody else, to hell with them. We just want our one guy, and then that's it. I believe that's about to change within a couple of years as well. Not even within the next year or two. That's all going to change. We're going to see a lot of changes. If you guys want a sneak peek into what WWE is going to be like over the next year or two, just go back and watch NXT the past couple of years. Not 2.0, no. Watch anything between 2014 and 2019 to get a good idea of what WWE, I believe, is going to be like within the next year or two. And if that
Hopefully
is the
better. You know
case,
what I mean?
and
Like,
hopefully even better, but if we
yeah.
get that on the main roster, oh,
I'll tell
that's
you.
going to be a
Okay,
good
so
TV watching every week.
let's take this for a perfect example. During the Survivor Series, I forget what year, 2018, maybe 2019.
Yep.
Whenever they were in Saudi Arabia, or no, whenever they were in the Middle East, right? They were overseas, and the plane was delayed, or something happened with Vince and them, right?
Yep.
And everyone was stranded there. And the show was Thursday, Friday night SmackDown. What did they do? Triple H, NXT Black and Gold roster, you guys got to do something, right? And what do? They kick off a triple threat Survivor Series, all three brands for brand supremacy. One of the coolest storylines going into it. That's what launched the man Becky Lynch. You know what I mean?
And they did Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan that night
Oh
in
my
a
gosh.
banger of a
Yeah,
match.
absolutely. I think they also did Tommaso
It
Ciampa and The
flew
Miz.
NXT all the way up to Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying. All within like what 24 hours notice, and
Maybe shorter.
They kicked off careers from just Triple H being like, "Hey, you got to do something," you know. Like this is just like the potential of what the future has in store.
Yeah, this has been crazy. So basically, we basically chronicled everything that kind of happened, between Stephanie stepping away, family reasons, so to speak, and then the news comes out about Vince McMahon and paying off the women or whatever. Then insert Stephanie now, interim CEO. Then more news comes out about Vince. And then we get Triple H announced today is the head of talent relations, followed by 6 hours later the announcement of uh, co-CEO Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan. Nick Khan is on the rise here. Look at this guy. Unbelievable. Con artist, that guy. I'm not a fan of him, to be honest.
I'm not familiar.
Anyhow, there are so many possibilities that is going to come out of this. But before we do, we just want to let you guys all know that feel free, those of you guys that are watching, leave comments, join a conversation. We would like to talk to you. We want to hear what you have to say, because this is just like today's just been a mind-blowing day. We just want to hear what you'd have to say, the thoughts that you might have about this, and what I ask you guys, what are some changes you'd like to see? Feel free to leave the comments. Anyhow, so just guys, let you know this is our aftermath special. This will also be on the podcast as well. Downloaded as a special there as well. This is not episode 96. Episode 96 will be next week, along with our SummerSlam prediction show and our post show. Next weekend's gonna be busy. But moving on. So we're kind of just talking off the cusp here. We have no dialogue or chronological thing of a list of things that we talk about today in front of me. We are talking off the cusp. So we want to talk to you guys and just make it fun. So leave those comments. I want to hear what you guys have to think. Anyhow, so Vince McMahon, we covered the cons. We already talked about the negative effects that he's had on WWE the past couple of years of him not wanting to give up control. We've already talked about his affairs, and not to mention his 1994 steroid scandal, the murder cover-up in the 80s with Jimmy Snuka, and his affair back then. So just list goes on and on. But there is a list of positive things that Vince McMahon has done for the company. WWE has been very hands-on with foundations, Connor's Cure, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Hulk Hogan, Roman Reigns, Cena, with big-time Make-A-Wish. So WWE, Vince McMahon, always been in the background and helping out the community whatsoever. There's no denying that whatsoever. when
But
I
it's
started
interesting.
watching wrestling, you had go on.
Yeah, I was just say, sorry to cut you off. It's
Yeah, you're good.
interesting that you bring this up, but in light of, can you name stuff like that? I mean, I don't know, right? I don't remember it too much back then, but what you mentioned, Connor's Cure, like all of the other organizations, right? The breast cancer
Yeah.
awareness, Be a Star, anti-bullying, Special Olympics, I'm sure, or whatever, stuff like that. Has any of that happened during a non-PG era? And how much of it will sustain once content becomes more TV-14? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
it's been all that stuff's been happening for years throughout the non PG era. So definitely, especially Make a Wish.
okay, yeah, no, I'm just,
PG era kind of ended in 2008, so to speak, or so they say. Um,
okay.
so John Cena was doing stuff well before that.
Yeah, no, I know.
So like, but yeah, they've been doing
It would
stuff
just
like
be
that over the
interesting to
years.
see.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I hope that, like, as much as they are going to, whatever TV-14 means. And by
yeah,
the way, both Monday Night Raw, I mean, unless it's just an error on the graphic, which I don't think that, like, major networks like USA and Fox would do, but on the graphics at the start of both programs, both Raw and SmackDown, at least here in New York, both are still saying TV PG as
okay.
as
It
of last Monday and today.
it could be an error, but I've also been told that officially that might not start
Yeah,
until maybe after SummerSlam or something.
yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
I think they're kind of build into it at this point.
maybe
I
a
wish I
lot.
had a better answer for you.
No, of course, it's just something that I noticed,
It's
and it's
worth
just something
noting
that.
for sure.
But also, like, it's probably all connected. It probably is, and it should be
I
all
believe so.
connected.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I believe so. I believe
in
like
terms of, like,
we've seen a bunch of subtle changes.
the ratings, like, and this is why, if you want to really think about, like, the last few months, and, like, thinking about, like, oh, why did they book certain shows, or especially, like, the week to week shows, like, the pay-per-views weren't weren't terrible, like, the last couple of pay-per-views were, like, we
Great in ring action. I have no
absolutely.
complaints about the
The
wrestling.
talent, like, for sure, we can talk about the
Yeah,
talent, right?
lack of star power.
They're
Yeah,
doing their best, Yes, we wish that a lot of other people were pushed, and obviously they're missing, like, really just, like, a bunch of key number of people, right? Had they held on to people like a Keith Lee or like Adam Cole, right? I wish they could be doing more with Tommaso Ciampa, right? And even Finn Balor, I love Finn Balor and all of that, and I just wish it was like whatever. But I'm just saying, like, talent, I believe it's there, and they're doing their best, and I will always respect the professionals for doing what the professionals do, you know, and so, like, I can have opinions about their in-ring work or their botches or lack thereof or whatever. But at the same time, just like, they're professionals, they're doing what they do, and, like, hats off to them. For us in our conversations, it's a lot of it like, oh yeah, we're fantasy booking, and we're talking about the creative, we're talking about the writing, we're talking about who should be successful according to fans and who's seems to be successful according to the powers that be, like the machine, right? And, like, so it's just like, I love those types of conversations, right? So anyway, I know I was rambling.
no, it's fine, man. So what I was saying was, the things that Vince has done. When I first started watching wrestling, the Monday Night Raw era had just begun. It was only a couple months old, and just think, Raw is now, God, 29 years old. So that's how long I've been a
Yeah.
wrestling fan for. It's crazy. But I remember Vince McMahon commentating, and his commentating, the way he would go into commercials, the way he would segue out of the shows to close out the shows, the way he would build up the matches, like, in that time, Vince McMahon was hands down the best commentator, in my opinion. People might yell at me for this or throw a negative comment in right now, but Vince McMahon arguably better than JR.
Oof. Okay, I was
Arg-
going to say, like, in my
Arguably,
head,
you can
because
state a case. I think Vince is better than Shivani. I
okay,
think Vince is better than anything AEW is putting out. You could arguably say that he's better than Michael Cole. Michael Cole says some stupid stuff because Vince McMahon's been in Michael Cole's ears for years, but I think Michael Cole has gotten better over time.
I'm trying to think, man, because
Vince has done some solid commentary for a
absolutely,
long time, from the '80s to about he started fading out around '96, and gradually that segued to JR. So it was Vince and Lawler for a while. Then it went to JR and Lawler from there. Before Vince, of course, you had Gorilla and Bobby Heenan and what have you. But
yeah,
Vince was a great commentator. So he was a great commentator. Good interviewer. I really don't know him too well as the interviewer because that was more like '80s kind of stuff.
yeah,
But and I wasn't really watching then, although I did catch up on a lot of the historical stuff, like the early WrestleManias or what have you.
yeah.
So then Vince, 90, let's just say 97, slowly you see Vince McMahon. Stone Cold's becoming a heel, but as a heel
So he was
character,
on.
he's
Sorry to cut you off, man. He was on commentary during the, I believe, wasn't it the Montreal Screwjob, right? When Brett spat on him, he was on commentary.
was he on commentary still?
I'm pretty sure because I remember he had. I
He
think
was
he had a
there.
headset on. Or maybe he was. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had a headset on, and there was spit all over him.
Yes.
But anyway, it was around that time. But you're right,
Yeah.
and also Stone Cold was the heel, as you were saying. And it's becoming,
Yes. So Stone Cold was the heel. Like, he was the babyface, but he was kind of like
yeah, it
doing
became
heelish
Mr.
stuff, but the
McMahon at
fans were
that point.
cheering at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beating on Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon becoming and transitioning to an on-screen character with the
Yeah.
whole, starting with the Brett Screwjob, with Brett Screwed Brett, the '97, and then you had Vince feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince helped make Stone Cold Steve Austin big time.
Of
And then
course.
Steve Austin became one of the biggest superstars of all time. Vince also helped in making The Rock. Like, Vince was
Absolutely.
such an important on-air character. Even though he's the owner, but he was also the most important on-screen character in that whole Attitude Era.
Yeah.
He
for
did
sure.
such amazing work.
He set the groundwork for having the rage against the machine type of thing, right? And so like that's for Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was that character, right? Like we saw life through Stone Cold's eyes as, oh, it's the working man, the one who deserves respect, the toughest SOB, doing everything he can to succeed, fighting against his boss, right? And so like for us, that was like the archetype, right? That was the character, the authority figure that everyone can always be a guaranteed heel, a guaranteed bad guy that we can root against and enjoy when they suffer, right? And he did that so well. Everything he's done, you got to think as a character is what I'm saying. He's done well. And I know it sounds like I'm like celebrating this guy. Like this dude has had such a problematic life, and I'm sure
We don't condone any of his actions here,
no.
but we also recognize the good that he has done in the business.
This is a professional wrestling fan podcast. We are professional wrestling fans. We are fans of the sport, the entertainment. We are fans of sports entertainment. You know what I mean? And so because of that, it's like, yeah, we get to enjoy this part of our lives. You said like 29 years. I like my earliest memories of wrestling because I have older brothers, right? So my earliest memories of wrestling, like you said, are Saturday mornings when he's just I believe it's Vince, right? Or like you said, like Monday Night Raws and whatnot.
Yeah, so the Saturday mornings I remember when I first started was WWF Mania with Todd Pettengill.
Oh yeah,
occasionally with Stephanie Wine.
I remember Todd. Yeah,
Todd and Stephanie and it was kind of like it was kind of like my Monday Night Raw because I couldn't always stay up to watch Monday Night Raw because I was
Yes.
young.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I always managed to sneak it in, but to really like WWF Mania provided a lot of like the important highlights of what happened on Raw. So I always loved watching Saturday morning, and then we got like an hour break, and then 12 noon on Channel 5, WWE Superstars was on, and
Okay, so I remember
for an hour.
Superstars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for an hour,
Yeah.
and then Sundays we would get the the wrestling challenge, which was cool. Monday was the Raw from 9 to 12. And then I remember in '94ish when WWE introduced Action Zone. Then you had
Mm.
Action Zone for a couple of years, which started off pretty cool. But then that kind of turned into a taping and kind of useless program, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because then Raw went 2 hours eventually. But yeah, so there's been a lot of changes that Vince McMahon has been a part of, and just like we can go on and on
For sure.
about how Vince McMahon is tied into all our memories. Storylines, the time that they staged his death in the DX bus.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that Vince McMahon has been on, and we could talk all night about it. So he, as an on-screen character, he's contributed a lot and did a lot for the business,
Yeah.
both in and out, keeping himself in shape over the years, and then just carrying on with it, and then as time went on, Vince McMahon gradually became more of the guerrilla guy, just hanging backstage and running things from there. Because I think his best his best years were behind him at that point,
Yeah.
around the mid 2000s, for sure.
I think that was pretty much. I mean, whatever. Hindsight 2020. Back then, it was very. I mean, we can look at what content was back then. Like I'm talking about when he staged his death with the limousine explosion and whatnot. Probably distasteful and whatnot, but at the same time, I felt like that was supposed to be in a way like his swan song as the on-screen character, so that he could transition to just the backstage. If I'm not mistaken, that was the intention.
I
But
believe that was, yeah.
but like now it's just like, okay, no, he's like legit retiring, how so many years later. And so you're gonna think like, what was life like between then and now, right? It's just like, yeah, he's had a hand in everything. No, he's not seen every day or every week. No, he's not taking stunners, thank goodness, right? But at the same time, it's just like, no, he's still been around, and like we started off the shows talking about like, yeah, like how the last couple of years have been, right? And in ways how, in so many ways that it's needed change for such a long time. We're longing for that change, right? And so it's like I like how, and I think I'm going to look back on this day and appreciating how the news kind of broke in succession of that, right? Like, okay, Triple H is going to be executive vice president of talent relations, and like you said, has a hand in creative, followed by Vince announcing his retirement. Not to be a spoiler for Sons of Anarchy. I don't know if you ever seen that show, Sons of Anarchy, but at the end of the whole entire epic conclusion of this huge show, the main character ties up all of his loose ends before kind of, riding off into the sunset. And I think that that's hopefully now a much more tasteful and much more respectful and deserved respectfully um, end of an era, right? This is Vince McMahon riding off in the sunset, hopefully as gracefully as possible. I'm sure people are going to be talking about it for weeks, right?
This is gonna be talked about for
Yeah,
a while,
a
and
long time.
even as the changes take place, everyone's still gonna tie it to this day.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
has been a day that and I'm not gonna lie, including myself, many wrestling fans are waiting for. Not, and again, don't get me wrong, we did not want it to happen this way.
Of course.
But apparently it's just how the cards fell, unfortunately. But this is a day that we've been waiting for the longest time. So this is, as a wrestling fan, I'm kind of celebrating that he's gone, but at the same time, I'm tying that in with like, we can't forget what Vince McMahon has done for the business, for several years. I mean, today, this is the biggest news we have come across in the wrestling business since the folding of WCW in 2001. No doubt about it.
For sure.
So I want to run a question for you, but before I do, there's this tweet by Tony Khan. He wasted
Thank you for
no
bringing it up.
time. Within an hour, if that, Tony Khan tweets, "Thanks to you wrestling fans and your great support of AEW. I'm grateful to now be the longest tenured CEO in pro wrestling. Thank you very much to every single person who watches AEW on TV. See you Friday night, Rampage, yada, yada, yada." Wow. Too soon?
No, man.
I enjoyed it, though.
No, he's having fun. Come
He
on.
is trolling big time, and I loved it.
I'm glad he said something because we're talking about it.
Tony Khan is now
He's like,
the
"Yoo-hoo, over
longest
here."
running wrestling CEO in the business. Who would have thought?
That's awesome.
Oh, man. So now we got Stephanie's co-CEO, Nick Khan, on the rise. Probably wants to take the whole company over eventually.
Oh gosh.
But
dude.
like I just seen him on the rise. Like any bad thing that's happened in the company, you see Nick Khan rising up the ranks. So I think it's safe to say Johnny Laurinaitis is gone. I think it's safe to say that possibly Kevin Dunn's going to be gone soon.
I forget. I was trying to do a little bit of as much research as I could before this, and I was seeing some tweets that are saying like, "Oh yeah, no more of those nauseating screen cuts." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna actually like look and feel different. I'm sure, as it should. Within time, it's probably gonna stay the same for a little while.
Yeah.
But there are big changes up ahead. There are changes to be talked about as of next weekend, and I'm sure things are kind of up in the air,
Oh my gosh, the next couple of shows are going to be must watch. The ratings are going to pop on Monday. They're going to pop on
you said
Tuesday.
earlier, right? It's like
they're going to pop
Raw,
on Sunday.
SmackDown haven't been must see. It's kind of must see now.
It is must see to see what the change. Everyone's expecting change right away. That's the problem. I think everybody was kind of expecting. I think tonight was probably the biggest rating pop. I'm interested to see what the ratings are going to be. Sparked my interest, and they wasted no time and brought Stephanie out there in a very surreal, thanking the crowd on behalf of Vince McMahon. The fans chanting "Thank you, Vince," and then you see Stephanie looking in the camera saying "I love you, Dad."
Yeah,
like, it just felt a little surreal. So it was good.
And real quick,
yeah,
she also did the very classy move and said, "Yes, we can stand here and say and we talk about Vince McMahon, the person and the legacy, all we want, but we, as the WWE universe, and by extension, the whole entire professional wrestling community as we know it, it's comprised of not just Vince McMahon, right? And so we're celebrating Vince McMahon, and like the legacy and all the good memories, but Vince McMahon is also a person who is a really good team player, a collaborator. He knows the right people to have on his side to create. So he has the writers, the producers, the designers, everything that we see. There's teams that are doing it, and Stephanie started in her speech or was just like, "Yeah, I'm going to address everybody, the crew, everybody." Right? We are the WWE universe, and we are all thanking Vince.
So Joe, I have a very important question for you.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
This is what whoever's watching right now, please leave your comments. We want to hear what you thought. We haven't got any comments yet, but please leave your comments. Want to hear what you're thinking. The show is not just about us, it's about you guys too. So leave some comments. We want to hear your thoughts, your opinions on what's going on. So, Joe, I want to ask you a very important question. Um, what changes do you expect to see within the next couple months, year, 2 years? What changes are you expecting and would like to see to come out of this, coming from this day going forward?
Great question. Listen, man, the key word to that question is what would you like? Right? Have I'm going to answer your question with another question. I'm going to bounce it back and forth, but whatever. Have we been seeing what we want? You know what I mean? If we haven't been seeing what we want lately, let's get prepared to see what we want, or at least let's hope to see what we want. And so there's probably a good amount of people rooting for Austin Theory to be a major player in this game or in the next future. Is that Vince's boy? Is that going to be the last guy who's Vince's boy? You know, is he going to continue that push? Or is he going to be like what a lot of wrestling fans want? Just bury him, you know?
Well, the good thing, see, the thing is, I've seen IWC not happy about Austin Theory, but listen, the
Right? He's
WWE,
being set up to be that guy.
yeah, the fans have been clamoring for a long time. We want somebody push somebody new, and WWE is trying to push somebody new, and the fans don't like it. I honestly don't get it. I think he's got a good look. I think his push is very similar to that of maybe
Dude, he's
2002,
got to do
2003
some
Randy
crazy
Orton.
things.
Yeah, and you know what? Triple H hired him.
Yeah.
I don't think Austin Theory is going away anytime soon. I think he is. He might walk out as SummerSlam champion at this point because I think the
Dude,
briefcase is a good way to get the suitcase.
briefcase,
The
it's
briefcase is
an
a great
easy
way
solution to
to
their
get the
present
belts.
problems.
Yeah, to get the belts off somebody. Cash-ins are always a good way to do it. It's kind of hard to really pick somebody to beat Roman Reigns clean. So there's always that possibility Austin Theory could be the guy to beat it in a cheating fashion, which is a little bit more believable than a clean win. Um,
Yeah.
so don't be surprised if we see a big title change
But
on
what does that look like?
SummerSlam next
You know
week.
what I mean? Like
I
you're
think that
gonna
looks like both guys knocked out. Lesnar and Reigns knocked out after the match ends.
and he just comes in and does it.
I think he comes in and does it,
Oh
but
man.
but we'll see. We'll see. But
He'll
so
just legit spot for spot recreate exactly what happened at what was that? WrestleMania with Seth Rollins cashing in. You know?
it could happen like that. I feel that at this point, Seth Rollins is a little bit bigger of a
Oh yeah, by that
superstar.
point, yeah,
That
like by that point though, he was also not to mention, come on, he's also an indie darling. He was an NXT like ground
he
level
had a
worker.
good
You know what I
amount
mean?
of time of TV and
And
heel
so
and a run
like
with the Shield.
not to compare apples to apples. I'm just
Yeah,
saying money in the bank versus money in the bank. We got Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, hopefully, at SummerSlam. And then money in the bank guys coming in need a easy solution. I don't know. Yeah, give
I
it to him. See what
cannot
happens.
wait. I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to predict SummerSlam
Yeah.
next week. I cannot wait to predict it. That's gonna be a fun one. Um, I might because I really truly don't know what's gonna happen, but don't be surprised Austin Theory cashes in and wins.
Everything.
But
Everything
they
is up in
might
the air.
save that for the Castle in London,
Yeah.
where Drew gets his big win, and then Austin Theory does his cash in and gets a major boo from the crowd to get that heel heat on him going forward.
You know what, Wayne? I just thought of a great answer to your question. What would I like to see? I
Sure.
would honestly like to see relationships repaired between people who should have a good and healthy relationship with the World Wrestling Entertainment fans and the World Wrestling Entertainment community,
And the
who
former talent.
former talent, everybody. I would love to see those relationships that have been kind of broken or hurt I would love to see that, kind of mended under Triple H's and Stephanie McMahon's doing.
Yeah, and I believe that's exactly going to happen. I believe the reset button was hit today.
Yeah.
The talent backstage is very happy. Again, you
Yeah,
can't be happy with their circumstances leading to it, but they're happy that the changes finally happened.
for sure.
The talent is very happy. The morale is very well received when people found out that Stephanie McMahon is what became the interim CEO,
Yeah.
now the full time CEO of WWE, with Nick Khan.
Yep.
And so we're seeing that the morale boost is already there. You got Sasha and Naomi that have been out for since WrestleMania now.
Yeah.
Um, Triple H and Stephanie definitely got some work there, and I believe they're going to be back very soon. As a result of all this, we're going to get to Brock Lesnar in a moment, but anyhow, I think we'll see those relationships repaired. I think we'll see Bray Wyatt. I mean, we've seen vignettes of Bray Wyatt. Well, we believe to be Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But I believe Bray Wyatt's going to come back. He's going to be a major player too. I just think the booking is going to get better over time. I think over the next year, people are going to try things out and test things out and just see, what the fans like, what they don't like. And I feel like the fans are going to be heard even more so now than ever,
Yeah.
which I think is another change that's going to happen. I also think we need a change in the look and feel of the shows.
Let's not
Um,
forget, Wayne, Cody is back,
Yeah.
and we
Cody
didn't
still
go.
wants to be a talent. He doesn't want anything
Of
to do with
course, no,
backstage
I'm
right
not.
now.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like this is a prime example of yeah. I mean, I want to think about like what the last few months have been like for Cody to be back with Vince and all of this happening, right? Like from his perspective, he's a perfect example of like it was someone I was saying like. Relationship kind of broken, kind of now mended, repaired, and some at least to a healthy enough degree that they can, reach this type of agreement to be able to work together again, right? This is just the beginning, and now with today happening, it's just like everything is up for grabs. Everything is within reason to believe it could happen.
Yeah. And listen, I think we're gonna see changes in the way the shows are done now,
Yeah,
which is gonna be good. We'll probably will see a Kevin Dunn gone at some point. You got to believe that's probably one of the first things on the list. But or they might just keep him on a short leash, and if he's not doing what Triple H Stephanie needs him to do, then he's gonna be gone. So I think Kevin Dunn. Don't be surprised if he goes.
he's been
You
doing it
s-
for a while too. You know
you
what I
so
mean? Like
so
a lot of
somebody
these
was
guys.
yeah somebody was complaining about Bruce Pritchard still being in charge or creative,
Yeah.
so to speak. This is that's probably still a thing. But don't forget, Triple H is in charge of all that now, and Stephanie. So they have the final say above
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard. If they want something changed, or if they want a certain push or certain things to be done, that's going to happen. Otherwise, Bruce Pritchard goes bye bye. Um, but so yeah, there's gonna be a lot of changes. I think Raw and SmackDown need a different feel to it. I think they need a different look. I think it needs a reboot. If I'm WWE, I am working on getting Mauro Ranallo back because I saw a rumor that AEW might be making a push for him, and I
Dude.
mean honestly, AEW could probably use Mauro a little more than WWE. But
Yeah.
I really like Mauro with WWE, but AEW's commentary is just
Could you
okay.
imagine a pairing of Mauro Ranallo and JR throwing a Taz?
Oh no. JR gotta go. Taz has gotta go. Uh yeah,
Just as I'm just
I'm
saying in the
not
same
I'm
it's just
not
the
a
same in
fan
the
of
same vein.
Taz. Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah,
fan of
man.
Taz. JR is just not the same old JR. It's like
He's
whenever I
not.
listen to JR, I always expect 90s JR. We're getting nothing close to it. I mean, there's been times where I've
I
fallen
just like
asleep
hearing his
listening to
voice, man.
JR. But
Call it nostalgic, but I just like seeing him doing what he's doing.
I think AEW would highly benefit with more Ronaldo on Dynamite.
For sure. Yes.
Have the other guy. I forget his name with the mask.
Excalibur.
Yeah, Excalibur. I have a million tabs in my head. I can't even think right
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
But I am on brain overload. But have Excalibur run Rampage. So you got two solid commentators for each show.
Yeah.
And have them join together on pay-per-views, and Shivani in the mix and stuff. And then we haven't seen Joey Styles. Like, Joey Styles is kind of out there. Does he even want to do it anymore? I don't know. But WWE should look into grabbing Mauro Ranallo. I think Mauro Ranallo is awesome.
Yeah. Although I honestly think I love the pairing of Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
Yes, that should not be touched. Mauro should go on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think Corey Graves is killing it too.
Absolutely.
I'm not a big fan of Byron Saxton, but I'm also not complaining. He's gotten better over the years.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
This commentator on Raw, Jim Kelly, whatever his name is,
Jimmy Smith,
not that good.
He's honestly filling a spot. He is literally doing his best, filling a spot, doing his thing. Great, good
he's
for you.
Trying, and maybe he can improve over time.
Yeah, he's a professional doing his job, and he's lucky to have it. I'm sure he's very fortunate to have it, and he's doing his best. It's best. That's only kind words I could say, right? I mean, sure. I mean, no shade, absolutely.
There's a lot of changes that that's going to come out of this. The booking style. I think eventually we're gonna see a little closer to an indie style of wrestling. Give it a couple months. I think that's gonna happen. I think the nonsense that we've been subjected to for the past number of years now, except for the NXT brand, because that was just great. But the nonsense we've been subjected to over the past couple of years with Raw and SmackDown, that's all going to change gradually. They're going to be testing out a lot of things. They're going to test out pushes. I think we're going to see guys like Killer Cross back. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to shave that head, please. He does not look good with hair. He's got to shave that head. They need to bring him back the right way. Him and Scarlett Bordeaux. They got to bring the pair back.
They never got a chance to do
it the right way.
Yeah, they need to do
that. Presentation was great
at a stadium. Like honestly, the entrance, I love it.
Gargano, they got to bring him back.
Well, that's a costume, though. I mean, I don't know. The weird.
They got to bring Gargano back. Triple H loves Gargano. I'm beginning to wonder if Triple H is going to try to poach the indies again and try to grab some of these guys that when their contracts expire. MJF, this is going to be, there's so many endless possibilities of changes that are going to take place within the next tag teams. How about tag teams? Triple H did a pretty decent job building a tag team tournament, and then Vince would poach the NXT tag team title picture and bring them up to the main roster and then bury them. So that happened consistently. Yeah, but man. Triple H cared about the tag teams. They did tag team tournaments. They did a bunch of tournaments to make matches relevant. Dusty Rhodes tournaments. So they knew how to book very well. So I believe we're going to see a revival in a tag team division. Big time.
Revival. Good name.
The revival. I think we're going to see a revival. And you never know. FTR, their contracts aren't like hefty amount of years. They could eventually come back. I mean, everybody that left WWE in the past 2 years all loved working with Triple H and Stephanie. Not much negative. So I mean, there could be a little bit of a flip of superstars in the next year or two. So this is going to have ripple effects. Vince leaving is going to have ripple effects for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Wayne, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think? And I don't really know NXT 2.0 at all. But who from
neither do I at this point.
Are there any names then from NXT 2.0 that you hope does make it to the main roster, or does like whatever NXT 2.0 happens, but like the people who are carrying it and or who are succeeding or who are at least interesting to watch, like the Usos' little brother, you know what I mean? Like, hope he does well. I don't know.
He's rumored to be coming up very soon.
Hopefully,
I
right?
mean, and I would think that's probably still going to happen.
Braun Breaker, like
Braun Breaker for sure. Braun
be,
Breaker.
there's gotta be a place
He hasn't
for him.
really kind of grown on me yet.
I just like
But I see he just needs to
I like the
continue to
idea of
grow,
him,
develop
you know.
more.
You know, son of the Steiner, doing well, you know, winning matches, you know, putting on shows.
Here's
doing
another
his thing.
thing that needs to happen. The name changes.
Yeah,
That's all gonna stop.
let's
It's
bring
all
back
gonna
first
stop.
names. Austin Theory.
Bring back Austin Theory. Use Rex Steiner as the name.
Yeah.
I mean, the WWE, Vince McMahon has insulted our intelligence for so many
Eli
years
Drake.
now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get started with that.
Did you see? I mean, I didn't.
I've seen what he's been doing.
No, but today there's I didn't see it, but there was a Maxine Dupree who
apparently that's his sister.
is that this? I haven't been following, but
I think it's his sister.
Dupree. I'm like,
These guys are
I don't know what the heck is going on.
These guys don't be surprised if that gimmick gets nixed. I don't know.
It could get super over they could give it the Tyler Breeze treatment. You know what I mean? Imagine something like that has Tyler Breeze treatment potential and tag team potential. So let's think about it this way, right? Tag team. If we can think about NXT Black and Gold as a blueprint, you have the Ascension, the Vaudevillains, who are all going over as tag teams. I remember at that Takeover Brooklyn, it was the Vaudevillains going over with the female superstar Blue Pants. Remember Blue Pants?
Yeah.
Right? They put on a show, and I just remember. I don't even remember who they were. Oh no, they were against Blake and Murphy and Alexa Bliss.
Okay.
I believe that was the match. I mean, to me, that sounds like it makes sense. But I remember the Vaudevillains, right? And they were like, these are tag teams that are silly and obviously didn't do well on the main roster, but they were over in an NXT crowd. And so now you think like, okay, these goofy tag teams that don't really make sense, the male model team doesn't make sense. Make it fun. Give them an opportunity. See what they do with it. You know what I mean?
Here's another thing: does WWE
That's
get
a lot
sold?
of hope, but
Does WWE get sold soon within the next couple of years?
Dude,
because Vince is still like the owner.
Yeah,
he's still an owner. It's just that
he's
he's not
retired.
running anything anymore.
Yeah, he literally is not having a 9-to-5 job. He's just going to be home. He's just going to be chilling. You know what I mean?
Rightfully so. He's 77.
Right.
Enjoy it. Go off in the sunset, please. Enjoy your retirement.
Yeah. I mean, professional athletes retire in their 30s, right?
Yeah, professional athletes typically retire anytime between 35 and 40 as long as they're healthy.
Can you imagine then working for another 40 years past that? You know what I mean? You're doing something professionally to entertain, to do a sport, to do whatever, to do your thing, right? I mean, this is anyone who's had a long career in anything, right? You know, as a teacher, I worked with teachers who've been teaching for like 30 years, you know, stuff like that. The guy I work with has been like just working in the school building that I've been working in for like 25 years. And I'm like, dude, what are you still doing here? Right? He's awesome. But like now think about like Vince, who's been working from the bottom of the company all the way to where he's at for generations, right? Like you said, we could talk all night about how he's been part of the fabric of what we love, professional wrestling, right? He's been a part of that fabric our whole entire lives and beyond that. And so like now it's just like the legacy that he leaves behind, there's so much hope for. You know, I know I'm speaking positively and optimistically. Yeah. Who knows? Like you said, could all just blow up in smoke. WWE gets sold. Tony Khan becomes another, as he said, the longest reigning CEO, whatever.
So, not to mention, it was brought up today. Even Sean Ross Sapp said it. The possibility of a WWE crossover has increased quite a bit.
Sorry, excuse my loud.
Sean Ross Sapp believes up to like 25% chance that it happens. It's a good chance it happens.
Crossover. Why not?
I think
Build
because
relationships.
a crossover was certainly not going to happen under the Vince McMahon umbrella.
No.
WWE, Vince McMahon wants WWE in their own little box, and then that's that.
And I don't think it's going to happen right away either.
No, give it like a year or so.
Yeah.
And then have AEW versus WWE Survivor Series.
Absolutely. Send it
throw in some title matches in. Throw an AEW title match on WWE
for
TV,
sure.
And vice versa. WWE get involved in a crossover with other pro federations is going to do so much for not only WWE but for everybody else as well.
Think about all the the pops themselves. You know what I mean? Like, think about what AEW is doing whenever they bring in a former WWE person. A lot of it is just doing it for that initial pop. A lot of it is really just doing it for the viral content that they can throw online, where the internet wrestling community will just be like blowing up for it. You know what I mean? Like, think about, what's his name? Malachi Black, Tony Storm. You know what I mean? Like Keith Lee. Although Keith Lee's killing it. You know what I mean? But like, there's countless people who have debuted on AEW, and the big, the on Instagram and Twitter, Tony Storm is All Elite, right? Again, no shade to anyone doing this, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, think about, like, they're giving them all this money for their crossover pop. Like, think about all of that poppage you could have on the other side of it. They're like, they would be stupid not to open their doors.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this, Joe. Now we're getting silly because it's a late hour of the night.
It is getting late.
But does Vince McMahon ever cross over to All Elite Wrestling?
Mr. McMahon is All Elite.
To start
the character.
To start an invasion angle of some sorts to kick off a future crossover.
You want to get silly? They should do it from like the limousine explosion. You know what I mean? They should start off with a limousine explosion, and it could just be Mr. McMahon surviving it or whatever. And so, like, the character Mr. McMahon lives on and is All Elite.
Oh man!
No, I don't think that'll ever happen. But it's silly.
Yeah. So let me tell you. The Twitter world has been very busy. It's going to be very busy over the next day or so. We haven't talked about this. So rumors were running wild tonight about Brock Lesnar finding out the news. And when he find out the news, saying that if Vince leaves, then I'm done.
Yeah. So
this was going, this news was starting to spread like wildfire going into the night.
I mean,
I feel like during the whole SmackDown, Triple H and Stephanie and probably Vince were all, and just to do honor to Vince, were all negotiating ways to keep Brock Lesnar intact for at least this coming SummerSlam. So I'm almost willing to bet my life that backstage in a Boston Garden in a hidden office somewhere that they were negotiating with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was taken off the schedule.
Yep.
And nobody knows. And then Austin Theory comes out and drops Brock Lesnar's name and saying that he's going to cash in on Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Oh, funny side note: Xavier tonight was talking about the Viking Raiders of how successful they've been, and Xavier Woods was like, "Yeah, the Viking Raiders have been successful in Ring of Honor, New Japan." And he's mentioned all these organizations' names, which you barely even ever WWE ever does. They don't like acknowledging other
No,
organizations'
they never do.
existence.
Because how dare
And
they?
it's, and if you look at my Twitter of the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast, I tweeted it, but many wrestling fans started tweeting about it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But so
Why waste time?
yeah, so getting back to Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar, they had to have been negotiating throughout SmackDown, and then they just decided to because Austin Theory said he's gonna cash in on one of them, and I was like, that's interesting. WWE commentators made no mention of Brock Lesnar the rest of the show. Okay, and like Brock Lesnar was probably threatening to walk out, but didn't officially walk out. But he was probably threatening to walk out, and was probably brought into the office, and they just sat down and talked about it. That's what I probably think happened.
Imagine
Otherwise,
trying to calm him
because
down.
because with Michael Cole, remember Michael Cole and Pat McAfee announced the walking out of Sasha and Naomi a couple weeks ago
Imagine if they did that.
with Lesnar.
Yeah.
1 week away from SummerSlam.
Yeah, no. I think that they did it the right way. Keep things intact as much as possible. You can do your damage control. There's still a little bit of time. He's gonna hopefully they can persuade him to at least be professional about it, do a job, and I mean not to say like be a smart mark talking, right? But like no, literally,
Like if he wants to leave, just do the job.
Just do a job
and then go.
Go first. Remember what he did with was that Seth Rollins during WrestleMania? Was that WrestleMania 29? No.
30, 35.
Yeah, WrestleMania 35 at MetLife Stadium. They were on first, right? And like, wasn't that Seth versus Brock and Seth won?
Yep.
They were on first. He wanted to go first, and so he could leave, and they were on first, and they left.
Yeah.
He could do that. Do that.
This again, like today has so many implications, and so the future of Brock Lesnar is, in my opinion, very questionable. It looks like we're getting him for SummerSlam because obviously WWE through Brock Lesnar. So the fans thought that Brock Lesnar was gone and done. The wrestling world thought this is it. Like that fish out was walk. So as soon as Lesnar came out, the fans popped huge, bigger pop than usual. They popped big time. Like it was like a big surprise that Lesnar came out.
Yeah,
and it was just like it was a big thing. Like I think it was a pop, more of like the fans were like shocked to see Lesnar after all. But that's what happened. Like they must have squared something away and figure they throw Lesnar out the last 2 minutes of the show. They booked that last minute. They did.
Yeah.
And Austin Theory took the F5 and then took a beat down with Brock's with Austin Theory's briefcase. Lesnar used against Austin Theory, just beat him down with that briefcase, and that's basically how SmackDown went off the air. Don't be surprised. Like the future Brock Lesnar is definitely up in the air. I do not know if we're going to see much of Brock Lesnar after SummerSlam, in all honesty. Or maybe he was told that Brock Lesnar is going to go over at SummerSlam. So
here's how okay. So
there's a couple possibilities here.
This is something that I'm just piecing together. This is complete fantasy booking, but I can imagine a show of starting the show. Let's say Brock Lesnar really is pissed off, right? And he's just like, let's just say that he is ready to be like, no, if he's gone, I'm gone, type of thing, right? That's like kind of like the rumors that he said something to the effect of, all right, well, if he's gone, I'm gone. Not necessarily he means I'm gone now, but like let's say, okay, he's done with it. He just wants to wash his hands clean. Then he does the job early. He does it first. It's SummerSlam next week. He can go on first. You can do 10, 15 minutes.
That would be weird to have your most promoted match go on first.
But here's how it could end. Let's say Austin Theory does whatever Austin Theory needs to do, right? And he comes out towards the end and he's like, I'm cashing it in right now and I'm calling it right now. Or I'm calling it right now. Roman, get your ass in the ring, blah, blah, blah. Roman Reigns comes out because he's forced to, by contract, he's forced to. And that's when you can have someone crossover, right? Is it too soon to do a big, huge crossover or a return and, do it dirty type of deed for Austin Theory becomes his big muscle, and you end the show with a brand new champion to start off a brand new era, and this is how you end Roman Reigns' reign, and you start the era of Theory, right? And who is this big muscle who could possibly be big enough, bad enough, gone long enough to make a return, to be believable, to be enough to beat down Roman Reigns? How about Braun Strowman? I don't know what he's up to.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you were gonna possibly say, because as soon as you mentioned crossover, I thought you were gonna say John Moxley.
No.
But
I'm saying but I
because
mean
Triple H is
something
gonna be so open to it. He's gone on and said that Triple H has gone on saying that he'd be open to this stuff, kind of stuff. But yeah. But by the way, Seth Rollins made a mention in a tweet that there's no chance of the Shield ever getting back together.
No, I don't think so.
But if they do crossovers eventually, it's very possible now. The possibilities are there now.
Right.
Don't think it's going to happen, but
Right.
I don't think we're going to see the three guys fisting again. But you never know.
My point is, I don't think I see Austin Theory cashing it in successfully unless he's doing something big like that. Or not to say he needs a Braun Strowman, or he probably does need a muscle, right? He probably just needs someone like that to kind of if he's going to be pushed and he's going to cash in, right? Miz had Riley at the time. Dolph Ziggler cashed in. He had Big E at the time. You know what I mean? And so just are you going to put him with a big muscle like he needs? Or it's just so that we can kind of legitimize that he's going to the possibility of him doing well, getting over on Roman. So.
Hey, another thing is, I guarantee we're going to see a couple of returns soon, because a lot of there's going to be a lot of talent that are going to want to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's talent out there that's still really not signed, like you mentioned. Big Braun Strowman, Johnny Gargano's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Sasha
biggest
Banks, Naomi.
Sasha Banks, Naomi.
I don't know.
Got to change up her gimmick. I'm just tired of this glow stuff. I'm not gonna lie. They got to change it up. But have her join the bloodline. But then the other thing too is how much longer the bloodline do we have? In all reality, I'm not too sure if we see if we're looking too much past 2023 for the bloodlines run.
I just don't know what you want to do past that, though. You know what I mean? Even you got to think about teams like the New Day. I know they look and kind
been around for too long now.
I mean, and I think they when they kind of split up and Big E went his separate way, they did it I think the best way, where everyone can be as successful as they need to be. However, that being said, it's just they're still kind of together, kind of doing their thing. It looks a little different, but where do they really go from here? I don't think either of the Usos. I mean, please keep them together. Don't split them up, because they really are carrying this tag team division. They're still putting
on for sure. Matches. My goodness, the Street Profits Usos match.
Street Profits Usos that was a mind-blowing
tag match.
That was amazing.
On a WWE stage, that was the best WWE match of the year.
For sure. Absolutely.
Best tag match of the year, and maybe the best tag match of all in all of wrestling.
Yo, Angelo Dawkins, dude.
He's very flying much under the radar. He's doing some cool stuff.
He is so cool. And and he's stiff too, dude. He's real tough, real stiff, and some of those shots back and forth. Again, I'm not someone who wants to critique, something that I have absolutely no experience with. but like I could, oh man, the sounds, just seeing how hard he hits, it's just like these teams are killing it. They are doing so well, and like it's just like thinking about how successful they could be under new management. It's just
Oh,
like
for sure.
so. Yeah, who
Oh, for
knows?
sure.
Who knows, man?
So I I feel like we pretty much covered everything here. I mean, there's going to be a lot of subtle changes. There's going to be ripple effects over the next couple
Yeah.
months, weeks, and days for sure. There's no doubt about it. Like, I'm just interested to see how Raw and SmackDown and SummerSlam, and I feel like that reset button's coming very shortly. I think it's coming. The reset's going to come. It could be gradual, could be sudden. Maybe when they start a new season, which they usually do around September. So it's gonna be a very, very interesting time. So to those of you guys that are watching, fans, buckle up. This is gonna be something else. But did you see my Red Sox tonight? Oh my
Dude,
gosh, the Red
I
Sox
didn't see
gave
it.
up 27 runs.
Hey, on the bright side, only 2 more after the 5th inning, so that's okay.
Oh, it was bad. It was unbelievable. They gave up 11 runs in the top of the fourth or top of the fifth inning.
Top of the 5th, I think
Like,
you
I
won
need
the
to go
6th.
back and watch the game and see what the heck happened. Nuts. Anyway, this is the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast special brought to you by Back Sports Page. Make sure you guys are subscribed. This is a special. This is not an official episode. This will be on the podcast, though, so make sure you guys subscribe so you can catch all the in-between stuff, such as our post shows, our prediction shows, our watch-alongs, and what have you. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We're also available on Twitter, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Make sure you guys grab your t-shirt. If you haven't already, www.prowrestlingtees.com and do the search for the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast. Our colored t-shirts available navy blue, gold, black, and the logo that you see in the background in the top right-hand corner, right over. I can't even point to it. Is it right?
Oh,
Right
me
there,
neither. This way.
right there in
Right
that
here.
direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So make sure you guys do that when you can. And do I have any other announcements? I think we're good
We're
here.
good, I think. I mean,
I
unless you
think
wanna
we're
post
good.
any of the
We
links or
covered.
whatever.
I think we covered everything. On our Twitter page, we're gonna have the blog, today's blog of basically my reaction to today's events with Vince McMahon. So that's going to be available for you on the Twitter page. So you guys need to follow that as well.
Why
For
don't you
those of
tell
you
them
guys,
the title of the blog?
blog and guts, right?
Yeah, the title of your blog is Blog and Guts.
Yes,
The Aftermath
yes.
Pro Wrestling presents Blog and Guts.
Do we have that? Is that website live yet?
It's live, man. It's live. The link itself, you can probably, like I said, I would say I would put the link in your bio on Instagram and whatnot. Right now, the link, we're working with the domains and whatnot. It's all processing and should be up and running. But if you want to, you can put the link in. I'll just put it over here in the description here in our private chat.
It is actually live.
You got it?
It is live. Yes, it
Live.
is live. It is working. You know what? Let's put it in really quick. Do you want to put it or you want me to put it in to show
So
everybody?
it's there. Right now, it's that long. It's a Google site, right? Right now, it's that long sites.google.com/view/aftermath wrestling. But soon, it will be aftermathwrestlingpod.com. And so
Yep.
if you go there,
And it's actually live.
oh, it's working. Aftermathwrestlingpod.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
Aftermath Wrestling Pod. See, those of you guys that are watching, that's why you guys should be watching live because this is fun. If that is correct, I believe that is.
Let's check it out. Aftermath Wrestling Pod. This is how easy it is to stay connected. I'm on. Yeah, we're live. So it's aftermathwrestlingpod.com.
There we go.
Nice.
So the website, it's our new website that Joe worked on this for us. Thank you so much, Joe.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Our first blog is there. So when you click on this, which I'm looking at right now, you'll see a big Aftermath logo. At the top, you got your homepage. The blog and guts is where all the blogs are going to go, or basically our reactions like throughout the week. And we felt that I felt like a keyboard warrior. I needed to blog about this right away and get it up. So we felt that today was the way to go to do it.
What a day to do it, man. Launch the website. You're launching Blog and Guts the day Vince retires.
Yep. And then, and the menu, you got the, when you do, the menu drop down, it goes right to our YouTube channel.
You got links to our
and
YouTube
Pro
channel.
Wrestling Tees.
There you go.
So there's stuff on there for you. We cannot wait to shoot that out on Twitter and wherever you guys follow us. I'm sure it's going to be there. So I'm tired. It is 12:33 midnight here Eastern time in Long Island, New York, where Joe and I are both from. So we are going to call it a night. But for those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much. We are going to be back next week. We're going to be back with a prediction show. We're going to be with a prediction show predicting SummerSlam. Episode 96 is going to be somewhere in the mix. We're going to have the post show for SummerSlam. One of our biggest weekends of the year, this next weekend coming up. And, oh, man, there's going to be a lot to talk about there, I'm sure. I cannot wait. So we will keep you guys updated on Twitter, on Instagram, of the Aftermath Wrestling Podcast, so you can check out our updates there. If you're in the wrestling group, it's WWE and AEW Wrestling Fans. This is our wrestling group on Facebook that you can also check us out with any of the updates. So be on the lookout for that. We cannot wait to talk to you guys. So for those of you guys that are watching, Joe, thank you so much for hopping on in relatively last minute. We weren't even going to do a show tonight.
Hey,
it wasn't even happening, but with the news that came out today, that changed everything. Those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much, and we will talk to you all next week. Oh, and a little side note, Tommy is probably going to be on Sunday or Monday doing a quick reaction show of Ring of Honor, so be on the lookout for that, and we'll talk to you all soon. Catch you guys later.
Agility from the champion.